Dark City, a film by Alex Proyas, is more than just a sci-fi thriller. It reminds us of human nature and the importance of sticking to our true selves. The main antagonists of the film, the extraterrestrials called the Strangers, dwell and thrive on manipulating the human psyche to their will and make it their strength. So let's meet these strangers. But before we get into it, make sure you like the video and subscribe to our channel for more such explorations. It might be a small click for you, but for us, it would mean a lot. Now let's head to the Dark City. How the Strangers are built. The true form of the Strangers is nothing more than a transparent, jellyfish-like substance that's carried by human vessels that they possess. Their human form is nothing more than sunken eyes and pale gray skin, covered by long black coats and hats that conceal their bald heads, which are severely prone to injury. Any fatality to the head would lead to their instantaneous death, water being one of them. They hate the sun and humidity. So much so that they deprive the entire city of the nearest sun, never experiencing sunrise. They permanently host the human body in pursuit of understanding human behavior. Although they use human flesh, their blood isn't red like us. It's a black tar-like substance flowing in their veins, which makes them all the more creepy. The human host is only a source of physical resilience, while all their power remains in their minds. However, they are capable of dying like any other human, which really doesn't help their case a lot unless they're using their psychic powers to their full potential. The Strangers only demonstrate a similar behavior pattern with only some exceptions. Powers they hold. The Strangers are all about manipulating the mind. The core of their abilities include telekinesis, telepathy, and reality reshaping. The Strangers possess something called a hive mindset, which means that they share a shared consciousness and mostly do not have any decisions of their own. The way they communicate with each other is mostly through the mind, and therefore, if one stranger knows something, every stranger knows it. Another thing that these Strangers do, which is one of their main abilities, is called tuning. In this process, the Strangers can build buildings, erase human memories, and create new realities altogether, transforming a person's life entirely overnight. Chanting in their alien language and closing their already sunken eyes as if meditating, they can warp reality and completely rewrite anyone's life. The Strangers also have an underground science laboratory that holds all kinds of advanced technologies, which only aids them in manipulating the human inhabitants of the city. They also have syringes stored with manufactured memories, which, when injected into a human's forehead, make them believe that they have lived that made-up life forever, completely altering their memory. As the human mind is completely rearranged and put together, they start relying on the newly given memories and go about living the life planted in their head by the Strangers. All this is done only to be able to learn about the human mind and their emotions to eventually become, if not them, like them in some way. Their past. The Strangers were never parasites. They lived on their planet, thriving and sustained in this nighttime paradise. Sharing a collective consciousness, they never had names. They always went by a collective identity. No thought was of their own. It was all shared by the Strangers together. Suddenly, they were hit with destruction. Their species started dying, their evolution faltered, and they were forced to find a new home, a new way to survive. Leaving their home planet, they discovered Earth and were deeply fascinated by it. As they observed the planet and its people, they found various complicated expressions they couldn't fathom. Expressions like love, rage, pain, and dreams. To capture the unknown, they abducted a group of people, perhaps a small city, and took them to the Dark City, a city fabricated by them, its reality controlled by the Strangers. They needed to survive, and all that was left of the species were their jellyfish-like residuals. What they needed the most was a physical form to keep a balance and be the brains of the human puppet. Invading corpses and wearing their faces as their own only tells us of their sick and cold-blooded mindset, and not an ounce of empathy. Soon they started controlling everyone in the city, rewriting their lives every night, constantly manipulating and rewiring humans, treating them like mere lab rats. In the pursuit of understanding human nature, they started destroying it and treating everyone like experiments that meant nothing more. They tried replicating the human soul with numbers. Little did they know, their actions would have consequences. Let's meet the Strangers. We know the strangers operated on a group conscience. However, some strangers evolved and fed on the human psyche to grow their minds. Using their abilities, they were able to manipulate and alter the city. Let's meet some strangers who went on to play notable characters in the film. Mr. Book, the leader of the strangers. His true strength lies in his mind. He does the mind work for all the strangers. Cold and dispassionate by nature, he doesn't want to understand humans, but solve them. Brimming with God complex, his powers are undeniably stronger than most, which he uses to warp reality and build a new one each time, sometimes even single-handedly. He is mostly responsible for the manufacturing of new memories and modifying the cityscapes with his telepathy and understanding of the human soul to the point of replication. But underestimating humans, and especially John Murdoch, we'll get to him later, is his biggest mistake. That ultimately leads to his downfall. Mr. Hand, the antagonist. Mr. Hand is a pretty interesting character. When John breaks free from his illusion of reality, Mr. Hand offers himself up to be injected with John's memories to be able to track him down better. This implies that Mr. Hand not only wants to capture John, but also get into his head and ultimately his life. His behavior turns erratic as he struggles to maintain between himself and John's memories. The way his character develops in the film is an interesting part to watch. Mr. Wall, the Brute. As the name suggests, Mr. Wall does the job of being a wall. The strongest out of the lot, Mr. Wall possesses great physical strength and power and can fight off better than any other stranger. Not much of a talker, he converses with his fists, and we see him chase John Murdoch down when he escapes. He is the literal body of the group. Mr. Sleep, Kid Stranger. To fuel the nightmare, there is a child with the same anatomy as the adult strangers. The same sunken eyes and pale skin. Introducing a child character always impacts the audience more deeply. A childlike face but a scarred presence, he is added to make the film unsettling. The main idea of the strangers was to make them operate as a pack with a like-minded approach. However, it's important to develop the characters further to move the plot forward. The idea of making the aliens into bugs had been overused in the era, which is why making them mind-infesting parasites became their only choice. It can be safe to say that the choice worked well. Strangers in Dark City. Let's talk about some events in the film, which actually signify the dangers that lurked with the strangers and how they came to actually manipulate humans. Every night, exactly at midnight, the strangers shut down the entire city. Using mass hypnosis, every residing human stops mid-movement and the world pauses around them. After which, the strangers appear, chant in their alien tongue, and use their ability to reshape reality, rebuild the entire cityscapes, change the architecture, and rewire memories of people, injecting new ones. They change their locations, place them into new situations, and erase any and every past memory the human would have ever had. But where do these strangers truly work from? This place is situated under the city. They call it the Lair. This mechanical heart of the city lies underground, far below the street level. The Lair is beyond any human accessibility and can only be reached by secret elevators. It is a dark, metallic space loaded with complex machinery and brimming with soft, echoing whispers of the strangers. Devoid of any natural light, it is a lifeless space with no trace of a human soul. However, there is one human presence in his full consciousness. Dr. Schreiber is a scientist who helps manufacture the memories and inject them into the minds of the people. These memories contain everything the victim needs to know about their relationships, jobs, and past or present traumas to completely reshape their lives. But this is what they fail to understand, that the soul is not a product of the experience of life. It is the core of human existence that does not depend on memory. It is what makes humans humans. But these artificially fabricated vials are produced in this lab. These vials are mostly used during the midnight resets. This lair is also called the Hive. This is where all the strangers gather to chant in their alien language and perform tuning to awaken the machine which alters the city and its people. This machine breathes and pulsates like the human heart, but it is nothing like it. It is a biomechanical engine that's operated when all the strangers link their abilities together to morph the city. Bringing upon ruthless change, it is responsible for turning everyone's lives upside down. Remember John Murdoch? He's the man who awakens with a glitch. Like everyone else, he was to forget about his life, but the experiment somehow failed him, leaving his memories intact. He also gains their abilities, being able to use telekinesis and tuning, which makes him a threat to the strangers. And as he finds out the truth of the strangers, he begins his quest for escape. When the strangers find out about Murdoch, they plot to capture him. And so, Mr. Hand volunteers to get injected with Murdoch's memories to link with him and track him better. But it's not easy to get adjusted to the complex human psyche. Mr. Hand starts experiencing strange emotions he cannot comprehend and suffers from an identity crisis. He tries to take his emotions and starts acting erratically, losing his sense of feeling and being unable to cope with the feeling of being human. He eventually dies at the hands of his obsession, John Murdoch. The imitation game only goes for so long. Mimicry of a human being doesn't make you one. And this is a hard truth the strangers learn with the death of Mr. Hand. The showdown is between Mr. Book, the brains of the clan, and Murdoch, the man who gained the abilities to tune and shape the world as he wants. The entire epic battle is a beautiful symbol of how using emotions is a powerful tool in recreating and reshaping the environment around us, and this is the advantage that Murdoch had. Rising into the sky above the city, they thrash buildings and cause explosions, causing a big telekinetic war. However, John overpowers Mr. Book. He might not be versed in technique, but he puts his instinct to use, which is a point of weakness for the robotic strangers. As his human body burns away like ash by the powerful tuning beam by Murdoch, he screams for the first time, his existence fading away like himself. His death frees the city of their tyrannical rule and ruthless memory resets. It gives hope that the city might be able to breathe again and see the sun again. Marvelous verdict. The film is a metaphor for how nothing can replace the purity of the human soul. The depth to which the human mind can comprehend is an ability not even other species around us can, and this is what we take lightly. So when an extraterrestrial species comes to steal that away from us, that is what we channel to break away from the darkness that they push upon us. Dark City is a beautiful representation of this, showing how their eternal power can still bow down in front of spiritual depth. However, I believe a lot more can be learned about the strangers had there been a prequel or sequel explaining their existence. These characters have a lot of room for exploration and building, and it would be interesting to see them in a sequel of some sort. Well, that's it for today, but if you liked this video, please share and subscribe to this channel. And remember, if you encounter a stranger who wants to rob you of your freedom, you have the power of your soul to fight against them. Take care, have a good one, and see you soon.